Welcome back to our Academy 101 series of this coverage of Siege of Couracent. For these two episodes, we are going to be covering how to play the Siege of Couracent as well as list building and what you can do to accomplish your goals in the Siege of Couracent Star Wars X-Wing that was released by AMG. We will have two episodes where we cover both list building as well as strategy between how to play the scenario and kind of what goes into it. It has been a fun journey to play some of these offshoot scenarios. Please enjoy part 2 of this Academy 101 segment. So for the last piece per se that we're going to do is we're going to cover Siege of Couracent lists. So essentially, the idea here is we talked a little bit last week about Siege of Couracent. And what I wanted to do is another Academy 101 segment where we talk about list building for Siege of Couracent. Essentially, we only have Republic and Separatist list build, and there's a reason why. We will probably build out more later, but for now, we will only be able to have the Republic and the Separatist list for the pure fact that we aren't going to be able to. I had a hard time building with the other lists right now because they don't get some of the perks that you get when you did the Battle of Yavin, that you could bring other ships in and it didn't have like a restriction. This one, for the Separatist player, you get 25 points, but the restriction is, with that being said, you can only regenerate SOC pilots. On the Republic side, you can only bring in, after round 2 or 3, Siege of Couracent pilots. So it didn't really benefit me per se, at least when I was list building, to kind of go through that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just do the base level Siege of Couracent lists and kind of go from there. If anybody has suggestions and wants to give us suggestions on other builds for other factions, we have a special tab in our Discord where you can go post your lists and we will review them and talk about them on the show. If we get enough user submitted lists, we'll do a whole segment on it. I didn't have, after this weekend, I didn't have the energy to try to build something for the most part outside of what we already had. So let's bring up our Separatist list here. The first list that we have, I went with all SOC pilots for the pure fact that you can bring them all back to life. So anything that is murdered is able to be brought back to life if it has the SOC caricature after that. If you remember right, the goal for the Republic is to try and ionize and get inside of the Invisible Hand to get Pelp and rescue him, which they should stop doing because it really does not benefit us in any way, shape, or form. But that's what they're trying to do, is essentially that. And so I thought, why not build a list with some droids, some bombers, some tri-fighters? Because to me, that seems like a lot of fun. So let's see here. Let's go on. There it goes. All right. So this list is DFS 81, the Holocron droid, both of them, one of them with ions, one of them with a Discord to help try to kill that other pilot. Then we have the 2 bombers, the 404 and the 32. Then we have 2 Aflac droids. Then I have DSF or DIS 347. And then 1 Factoid bomber with homing missiles. So, JJ, what do you think of this list? Oh, I should probably unmute you. Or you should unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Barely.
All right, there we go.
You're very
So,
quiet. There
is
we
that
go.
better?
Yes.
Yeah, there. Sorry. So yeah, I do like that particular list because you do have a lot of ground where you can send out a lot of these droids to cover the majority of the fields for this particular scenario, and be able to prioritize your attacks on the force carriers, which are the ones that the Republic needs to keep alive for this for them to win this particular scenario event. So having those tri fighters there as those pursuit fighters that can keep up with the Jedi ships, being backed up by the bombers, is actually a really good loadout. I like these. I like this particular setup a lot.
Yeah. So this was my attempt at, if you want to run it, and the reason I'm doing this is because if you want to run the way they built the scenario, like the true format of this is kind of how you would build it. Because technically you could add Dooku in, which we'll get to in a minute. But essentially, this is the version of, do you want to swarm without a commander based on how many cards and things that they gave you. So the second list that I have is not going to be only SOC ships. This one I added a DGS 286 to. And then I added the Iron Assembler. So the Iron Assembler is really just to help the droids live a little bit longer. And then the GGS 286 droid is, which I did not know this, but that TA 175 went down from 11 points to 8 points. I did not know this. Like, how did we miss this?
Is that the Pinata droid? Where
yeah, that's the one. If somebody dies, you get they all get calculates. That's crazy, right? How did this go
really
down?
Good, actually.
I don't remember this going down.
Yeah, this went down. I want to say 2 updates ago. It went
really. Down. Did I miss it? I should be running this.
Yeah, it's really good. It's just I think because the carrier at 5 points wasn't really viable, we didn't see it as much. But yeah, definitely that is a fantastic tech droid to have for this particular list, just to be able to basically make everybody else better for the assault.
Yeah, and the best part about this is it gains a calculate. So even if you do a barrel roll calculate with the stress, you get another calculate. Yeah. This list right here is what, when we play locally, this is the list I'm putting on the table. 100%.
Yeah.
And they have contingency protocol. You're right.
Yeah. Absolutely, like, Desi. Yeah.
This is really, so basically the only 2 ships that can't be regenerated is this DGS and the Iron Assembler. And I have Grievous on here, which is very dirty in this format because, oh no, one of my other droids died. I get Grievous back. Like, oops. Oh, yeah. And my droid comes back next round. Oops. You know, like it's benefit all around. It's almost like they built these scenarios and forgot all these other upgrades exist.
Yeah, it's like I almost wish you had on a talent slot so that we could put Treacherous on your
that would be awful
there. And that way you can guarantee that the Pinata droid goes off
every round. So oh my god, that would be horrible.
So good.
All right, so the next one that I built that I thought would be fun to fly is 2 belly rubs, one with Grievous and one with Seer. And I'm going to caveat this with Seer could change to that TV 80 whatever droid. You just can't run the shield upgrade then. That's all.
which is
But
fine.
you
I mean,
but
you could
you know what you
still
could do,
have
JJ? You know what
what?
you could do? You want to know what's really dirty? You could put that T8 and then you could get a beta planing in there, right?
That's really good,
And
actually.
then
And then have
you
iron
sacrifice the
assemblers.
shield and you just take a reinforce every turn. Like that's so dirty
Yeah,
too. Like, oh my god.
that's good. Yeah, I
Oh
like that actually. But yeah, I mean, this is really good too, right? Because you're feeding the rest of these droids over there, and you either have to go and deal with Grievous, who's going to be coming and flank you, or you got Seer, who's giving all these droids crack shot, and or you're taking strains with this particular tech droid. So good,
yeah.
really good.
Yeah, and this one I went with mostly SOC stuff. Like I think that Helicon droid could probably change with the ion missiles. Like I don't know, and you could drop Indy calcs on them, but to me this was your ultra aggro. And if somebody wipes the Bactoid or the Iron Assembler off, so what? Who cares? I'm getting the other droids back. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. The next list is almost identical except for it has Grievous, the Grievous in it, and then it has the let's see what it has Dooku in it instead. So I just swapped out stuff to have Dooku, basically, because Dooku
Still pretty
comes in the
good.
back.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that if you're able to regenerate Dooku, you can fly him much more aggressively.
Like,
At I5 with Malice, it is really good, especially if you start off with the Scimitar title, starting off cloaked. You can decloak and do a 4 straight, and yeah, and you just get into their faces as soon as possible. It's just really good.
yeah, so you cannot regenerate Dooku, though you know that, right?
Oh, is it only the droids? Okay,
It's
yeah, yeah.
only
Okay,
stuff with
makes sense.
contingency protocol on it.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, if
Okay,
you could regenerate Dooku,
that would be
it would
broken
be
as hell.
broken. JJ's trying to give you
Yeah.
broken lists here.
Yes.
Um, but I just really, I really actually genuinely think like that 32C, like Wallace so far not shown to be good in standard, that jam action and the ability to use the plasma torpedoes if another droid dies is really, really good against some of these Republic ships. So the last one I built is just me memeing a little bit, and it's essentially 4 tri-fighters from the SOC pack, and then 3 droids from the SOC pack, 2 hyenas and 1 vulture, and this is basically just me saying, whatever you kill, if you kill a tri-fighter, it comes back because it has contingency protocol on it. So go ahead. I'm going to just do nothing but throw these effing tri-fighters at you. They're going to throw 3 dice. One of them has outmaneuver, by the way. One of them have afterburners and outmaneuver. I'm going to throw 4 of them at you. Go ahead. Kill it. Oh, it comes back next turn. Don't worry. It's good. I'm good.
Yeah, the only change I would make to this is dropping the 347 droid for 2 more regular vulture droids
Oh, you're
to
killing me.
have independent calculations. And the only reason for that is that you essentially provide that battery of calculates for T81 to have. And if you can
All right.
set your debris clouds, because you get 3 debris clouds that you could deploy on the field, you can have those droids on those clouds, and that way T81 can be around that area to use those extra calculates. I think that would probably be a really good use of that.
All right. Now we're going to move into Republic lists. I did build a few Republic lists, actually, probably more than I should have. But I built some Republic lists because I actually like Republic too. So the first one, and so let me caveat this. So the way Republic works is you get 20 points of ships, and then anything that has SOC on it can be brought in that round 3. So anything that has SOC on it can be brought in round 3, and essentially it's like, oh, hey, Merry Christmas, here you go. these get to come in. Now, the caveat is they have to be from the SOC pack, period, to bring those ships in. I will tell you that the majority of the time, I am using Anakin and Obi to do that. But the way this list works is you have a choice who you want to bring in. 90% of the lists I've built for Republic have Anakin Obi coming in at the end. Because it's also thematic.
Yeah.
Right? They don't show up right away. They show up mid-fight. So some of me likes that, but it's because they're 9 points. So like it gives me more list building room without them. For it. But this list here is strictly an SOC list. If you're running just the base scenario, this is how I would build it. Essentially, you have Jag, Click, Obi, Annie, Wolf, Contrail, and Oddball. You can pick 2 of the ships to come in at any time. It is a 28-point list, so essentially, they don't tell you have to be at 20 points, so technically you can pick 2 of any of these ships that equal 8 or more points and hold them back. So you could put Jag and Wolf in the back. You could put Oddball and Contrail in the back. You could put Click and Oddball in the back. Click and Anakin in the back. There's a bunch of them that you could put in the back. I would never put Click in the back, though. Like, I would always put him in the first run of ships, personally. But that's just me. But essentially, this list is designed to ionize, and then you have Jag and Oddball and and Wolf to do large damage cleanup. That's what it is. They're there to pick the droids off before they get to shoot, and that's hence why I went with I-5 Tri-Fighters, just so you know, because then they don't get to die before they get to shoot, unless Anakin gets them. So
that's true. Yeah.
Thoughts, JJ? Any?
So I do like this list. Just having the flexibility of being able to choose which one you want to like swap out. I do think though that Oddball at 5 points, I don't know if he's necessarily a ship I would want to consider to put into this particular list there. I mean, for that, I'm actually leaning more towards having Wolf and Jag and Click, and then 3 other Z95 clone pilots.
But that doesn't. So that's great, but you got to save that to the next one because this list is specifically SOC only.
I see.
Yeah, okay. This one is designed to be SOC only.
Okay, I see where you're going. Yeah.
Yep. And that was, again, like the idea is I want to give everybody a way to play this without violating the rules. And now let's move into, let's violate the rules. So as you can see here, I did not put oddball in here. As you can see, I have Jag, Wolf, Kickback, Click, Stub, Contrail, which was essentially Sean's list that has done very well. And then said, oh, why don't I give them Obi and Anakin? So here, JJ, is where you can make your comments on what you would change up.
Well, yeah, I definitely do like obviously the addition of Contrail on here. Contrail is definitely a very, very good option for this list. Being able to use the precise astromech to double mod its shots is super good. But again, Oddball at 5 points there. It is a tank, but I feel under the continued barrage of all those vultures, it is really, really tough to justify having that much points in a single ship that could realistically only fire out the front most of the time before it gets gunned down or gets critted. So it is tough.
Yeah. I don't know. So there's that one. The next one I built is a little bit skimpier. I do have the 3 arcs in play with Jag or with Click and Shakti. You could sub Shakti and Obi out and then bring Anakin and the other one back in. And so the idea with this one is you get Shakti as kind of a early onset ion cannon. You have Jag, Wolf, and Oddball to start killing things off because they say you cannot bring these ships back until another round. It gives you the ability to get like an aggressive alpha strike out front and then bring your other Adas in to kind of say, hey, let me help you. Just a little bit different. Take again a little bit more AC play is going to be this one, but I feel this one is to me is going to say, hey, do you want to go for the ion mechanic? That's what this one is trying to accomplish. I have everybody up front being out to try to take as many droids off the board as you can, and then bring everything in the background to do the ionization for them.
Yeah, I definitely like this particular theme for this one, because Shakti also being able to use the Force for her ability, being able to coordinate 2 of the Siege of Couracent ships, or the clones, I should say, the born for this, and being able to give them those extra mods so that way they can share it between all of them, is actually really, really good. I like it a lot.
All right. The next list is completely off the rails. This is with Click, Contrail, Oddball, and a Y-Wing with ion cannon, ion torpedoes, and hot shot gunner, baby, to strip those things. Then broadside with ion cannon and ion torpedoes and R3. Then Wolf with ion missiles and ion bombs. And Jag and Anakin.
I like it a lot. This is definitely like going after the objective a lot, being to put on those ions so that way you can put in as much damage as possible. The only change I would make is on Tarkin, probably swapping out the bombs probably for the R3 astromech on Tarkin. Tarkin's abilities, you're able to, as long as you have a target lock on an enemy, which you can put on, like, let's say the objective if you wanted to, or a particular ship that you want to take off the board, you can pass that particular target lock to one of your other ships so that way they can take a shot as well. I think that's probably the better call for Tarkin. But beyond that, yeah, this is really good.
Yeah. This is the one I want to run right here, just so you know, because this is so silly and memey. Like, it's like ion. If you cannot win with this, I don't know what will. Like, to me, this is like, you can go in and this is like, I don't care about your droids. I'm literally just going to drop a bunch of ion shit everywhere. And your droids will never be able to take calculates again. Like, can you imagine? Can you imagine? I'm going to take Contrail right in with that and Wolf, and I'm just going to put them on either side of that stupid objective token thing. Drop an ion bomb, one bank or one hard, drop another ion bomb, and boom, I've just ionized this for everybody to come in and shoot it. Just crazy.
Yeah.
So then I decided, Then I decided that I wanted to do one with a dual lat because I'm a glutton for punishment. And I figured the lat helps with the rerolls. So I have Warthog with dedicated to help them all live. Hondo, because Hondo needs to be in this scenario. Even though he was not at that battle, we don't know if he was like hiding, stealing cargo somewhere. Agile Gunner, 7th Fleet, and Synchronized Council. And yes, Warthog will work in this list because I get 2 Loyalist Volunteers, which I could sub-contrail out for a 3rd Loyalist Volunteer. both with ion bombs, so they live no matter what for that turn. And then Contrail, Sicko with Wolfpack. By the way, Wolfpack is insane in this list. Wolfpack is such a good upgrade for this thing. And I don't know, JJ, do you know what Wolfpack does?
Yeah, it after a friendly ship at range 0 to 3 defense, if the attacker is in the firing arc of the ship that has Wolfpack, the defender may gain a strain token to acquire lock on the attacker. It's definitely a good way to set yourself up for follow-up shots from the rest of your list there.
Yep.
However, I gotta say, I after seeing it a few times on Hexiled, I like the combination on Sicko of multi-missile pods with C3PO
All right.
because you
Yep.
can do the double calculate with 3PO, and that still gives you the option to have to shoot with multi missile pods, which in this particular objective you have a plethora of different like targets where you can target with multi missile pods and potentially shoot a 4 or 5 die shot with multi missile pods from a lat and still have the rerolls to back it up as well. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree with you. Um, and I think that might actually just be the better Sicko to go with, to be honest with you. Which at that point, then you could switch out Hondo for Wolfpack, right? Oh no, you can't because you can't have Agile Gunner.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could do that. I think you're right. Maybe you still do that anyway because it makes it a little bit more of an aggro list.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then is this your build for the last one?
Yep. This is kind of like what I was talking about here. So obviously Anakin and Obi-Wan will be the ones that I would send off to the side to come in later. Then your standard build out of Wolf, Jag, and Click to go in there. I think they just pair very well together. Contrail, very solid option for the ions, being able to have that ion bomb there and having the position astromech to double mod Contrail shots at initially or at 3 points. Very, very good. That leaves you 6 points to add in. I put in Hawk to help give the boost to all of these ships, and then Stub to go in there. Now, the combo for this is Jag with the rest of these ships. Jag can acquire lock once Wolf or a Contrail shoots at a particular ship. Then he can use Synchronized Console to pass it on to Hawk to shoot off the cluster missile, and then they can fire control off of that lock and then pass it on. I actually meant to put Synchronized instead of munitions failsafe. And then pass it on to Stub, who also should have Synchronized instead of munitions failsafe to get that missile off again, and then pass it right back to Jag after all that's done. It is just a really great way to mod all your shots across the board, across all these initiative threes. If you can set it up correctly, you can get one shot at cluster missiles at the objective, and then another one at possibly a droid around that area to maximize your firepower with all these ships.
Yeah. So are you bringing Annie and Obi in at the end? Is that who your like choices are to bring in?
Yeah, those would be my choices. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, which makes sense. And again, I think, unfortunately, I think that's how they designed the scenario is like just take these 2.9 point ships that are going to die pretty easily, in at the end. I don't know. I like it. I actually like that take on that one quite a bit. And I think I would test this one out as well. I own the ships to be able to do that. So I think I think I could come up and play that one as well.